Hello students of class 10. Welcome back once again to your biology class. We were learning about the chapter of how do organisms reproduce. Today we will start from the portion of male reproductive system. The male reproductive system consists of different parts. Number 1, a pair of testes, a pair of vas deferens, a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of ejaculatory duct, and unpaired prostate gland and paired Cowper's glands. So these are the five parts, five main parts, which we will discuss in details now. First, we will know about the testis. Each testis is an oval glandular structure which lies outside the body within a loose pouch of skin which is known as scrotum behind the copulatory organ or the penis. The temperature of the scrotum remains 1 to 3 degrees Celsius lower than the body temperature. Why? Because it is essential for the development of the sperms. Sperms, how it develop? It develop throughout the reproductive life of a man. Now scrotum, what is that? It is a loose bag-like structure which lies outside the abdomen in between the legs behind the pelvis. Internally, it is divided by a septum into a right and left scrotal sacs. The development of the sperms within the testes, it needs lower temperature than the body temperature. So, these lie outside the abdomen within the scrotum. Before birth, the testes remain abdominal, and after the birth of the male child, the testis comes down outside inside the scrotum. Okay, vas deferens or ductus deferens also you can say in other words. It passes over the posterior surface of the urinary bladder. So here it joins the seminal duct from the seminal vesicles and it forms the ejaculatory duct. This duct runs through the prostate gland to open into the urethra. Understood? Next is the seminal vesicle. The seminal vesicle, what is that? A pair of two lobulated membranes, seminal vesicles. These are found between the posterior surface of the urinary bladder and the rectum. Understood? Its small duct joins the vas deferens to form the ejaculatory duct. Its secretion provides nourishment to the sperms. Now, what are these ejaculatory duct? Both the ejaculatory duct run through the prostate gland to open into the urethra. The urine and the semen both pass through the urethra. Okay, and urethra also runs through the prostate gland and receives a duct from the urinary bladder, and then it runs through the center of the penis, opening out at the tip through the urethral orifice. The urethra carries the sperms into an organ which is known as penis, which opens outside the body. The penis, what it does? It transfers the sperms from a man's body into the vagina of a woman's body for the purpose of reproduction. Okay, apart from that, there are few accessory glands also. The accessory glands include the prostate gland and the Cowper's gland. The prostate gland, where it lies at the base of the urinary bladder. The urethra passes through the center of this gland and it secretes an alkaline white milky fluid which facilitates in fertilization by enhancing the mobility of the sperms. A pair of pea-sized Cowper's glands are found on either side of the urethra after opening of the urinary bladder into it. Their duct open into the proximal portion of the urethra and they secrete a clear alkaline viscous fluid at the time of sexual excitement. Understood? So we have learned the male reproductive system, the pair of testes, a pair of vas deferens, a pair of seminal vesicles, a pair of ejaculatory duct, and from the accessory gland we have learned about the prostate gland and the Cowper's gland. Now we will know about the female reproductive system. The human female reproductive system also consists of few main organs, a pair of ovaries, a pair of fallopian tube which is also known as the oviduct, uterus and vagina. Okay. Now here you have to draw the human male reproductive system and the human female reproductive system and practice along with leveling. Practice both the diagrams of human female reproductive system and human male reproductive system, level it and practice the diagram properly. Now we will discuss in details about the ovaries. Each ovary is of the shape of the size of an almond. It is about 3 gram in weight. Where does the ovary lie? Each ovary lies on either side of the human uterus in the pelvic region below the oviduct. Ovaries are attached to the uterus and also to the oviduct. The ovaries produce the ova or the eggs and the female sex hormone. What are the name of the sex hormones which are produced? Estrogen and progesterone. Okay. Now, what are the oviduct? A pair of muscular and internally ciliated tubes known as the oviduct or the fallopian tube. Those extend on either side from the ovary to the uterus and fertilization occurs in the oviduct. The oviduct provides nourishment to the ova till the process of fertilization. The sperms ascend within the oviduct to fertilize the ova in the ampulla region of the oviduct. Okay, so you have to know the entire process, the steps where from the fertilization is starting or where it is ending. The entire procedure you have to know. Next is uterus. The uterus is muscular, pear-shaped, hollow organ which is located in the pelvic cavity in between the urinary bladder in front and the rectum which is situated behind. It is held by 3 ligaments. The uterus, what it does, it receives the fertilized ovum which develops here into an infant or the child and it takes about 40 weeks. The next part to be discussed is the vagina. It is also a muscular tube which is opening above in the uterus through the internal orifice and to the outside through the external opening. In young girls, what happens? It remains partly closed by a thin fold of mucous membrane which is known as hymen. The vagina is also known as the birth canal. Why? Because the fetus is delivered through the vagina. In human females, the opening for passing out the urine and the vaginal opening are separate from each other, which is very clearly found out. The female reproductive system is more complex than the male reproductive system. Understood? So these are the parts of the human female reproductive system. Next, we will know about the sexual cycle in females. The sexual cycle in females starts at puberty. Puberty means the sexual maturity at the age of about 10 to 12 years. This is known as menarche. The menstrual cycle starts and continues up to the age of 45 to 50 years. After this age, the menstruation stops and the female becomes inactive as regards to the process of reproduction. This is known as menopause. Menstruation is a natural and cyclic phenomena that occurs regularly in every 28 days or month in a female after attaining puberty. The menstrual or sexual cycle in women is a regular cyclic change that may be regarded as a periodic preparation for the process of fertilization and pregnancy. In the absence of fertilization, the menstruation occurs. The menstruation is a periodic discharge of blood, mucus, etc. from the uterus. The menstrual cycle basically is regulated by hormones, which is secreted from the pituitary gland. These hormones are FSH and LH. FSH is the follicle stimulating hormone and LH is the luteinizing hormone. The menstrual cycle in human female takes place in different steps. It starts from the 5th day after the stoppage of menstruation. The resting phase is from 5 to 7 days. During this period, what happens? The endometrium is healed up or repaired. Okay. And it extends from the 5th to the 14th day for about 10 days. In this phase, the growth and the development of the Graafian follicles takes place. Within each follicle lies an ovum that also develops and matures, but usually one ovum matures. The Graafian follicle secretes a hormone. The name of the hormone is estrogen. This hormone restores the uterine epithelium, which was ruptured during menstruation, and also increases the uterine gland and uterine blood vessels, which becomes elongated. The next phase is the follicular phase. It ends with the rupture of the Graafian follicle and release of the ovum. It occurs on the 14th day. The ovulation, what is that? It is the release of the ovum from the follicle. Ovulation and the ovary is stimulated by the luteinizing hormone secreted from the pituitary gland, and decline of FSH or follicle stimulating hormone takes place during this time. The ovum is caught by fimbriated ostium of the oviduct. The ovulation occurs roughly midway between the two menstrual periods. The ruptured follicle starts developing into the corpus luteum. The luteinizing hormone initiates the development of the corpus luteum or yellow body, since it is filled up with a yellow substance, the luteum. The corpus luteum, now it secretes the progesterone hormone. Okay, and under the influence of endometrium, further it thickens and the uterine gland further grows in length and it becomes convoluted and branched. Now what happens? The endometrium becomes thick, moist and rich in blood capillaries. So now it is again ready to receive the fertilized ovum. If the ovum or egg is not fertilized, the corpus luteum regresses. The secretion of the progesterone declines, the luteinizing hormone secretion is stopped, the uterine blood vessels constrict, which results in the supply of the oxygen and the nutrients. So the entire endometrial lining slows down and the capillaries break down, causing the bleeding again. And menstrual blood, it contains the lining cells, mucus, unfertilized eggs or ovum and blood. And it lasts for about 4 to 5 days. Menstruation is also called funeral of unfertilized ovum or weeping of the uterus for the lost ovum. If fertilization of ovum occurs, then ovulation and menstruation will stop till the birth of the child. And during the process of pregnancy, the function of both the ovaries and the uterus will change. Understood? Till this much today. Read properly. We will continue the remaining portion in our next class. Thank you.